We are live. Well, hello, Christine. How are you today? Welcome back.
I'm doing great, Valerie. It's good to be here.
Great. So last time we kind of discussed a little bit about health. Is there something that you would like to discuss today?
Yeah, I'm actually just recently in the last month, I applied for a different kind of position than I've been doing. I applied for a position with DSHS as a case manager for the Developmental Disabilities Administration. And I just found out last week that I'm still in the running and that they're going to probably make a decision this week, which I'm really excited about, but actually a little nervous about because it's something that's completely out of the scope. I mean, not completely, but a little bit out of the scope of what I've been doing. I've been working in geriatric healthcare for the last 3 years.
Okay, so I hear you kind of saying it's a little bit scary compared to where you've been, but you're open and you're interested in it.
Very much so. Very open, very interested. I think kind of one of my end goals has been to want to work with the DSHS in some capacity. I did apply for a job with the Aging and Disabilities Administration and don't think I got that position. That was kind of my first choice. But when I interviewed for the job with the Developmental Disability Administration, I really connected with the supervisor. And I just remember her saying, this is a really great learning environment, and that kind of kept ringing into my mind as I get nervous. It's like, this would be a great opportunity for me to learn something and to spring into something new, even though it's kind of scary and the unknown for me right now.
So definitely. So this is a new journey for you. I mean, from all aspects of every of the spectrum here.
Yeah,
but
yeah, absolutely.
So tell me what. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I feel like I'm kind of being stretched in a lot of areas of newness for me right now. Like social work is, although I feel like I've been doing social work, almost all my life, what I'm learning about social work and different areas of social work are, they're new to me, and some things are a little bit harder for me to grasp because it's very new and kind of this relearning something. And that's kind of how I feel. I don't want to say anxious, but just kind of that feeling I feel about this job too. It's like, gosh, am I going to be stretched in one more area? I already feel like I'm being stretched to the core. So that makes me a little anxious about, like, I already feel like I'm being stretched so much right now in school.
So yeah, so you seem like you're anxious. Yes, definitely. But I commend you actually for being able to go through those 2 interviews, and be able to obtain stuff. Sometimes people go through life and not being able to understand the meaning behind certain reasonings of you being there, at that certain time. So I really commend you and congratulations, most definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, I think what has happened is that going into my graduate program, and especially being out of my undergraduate for so many years, it was scary. And I think being successful in my graduate program and feeling that momentum that's grown through that program, and learning what I've learned about myself and about social work, it's helped me become more confident to say, yeah, I could take on something new and learn and grow through that. So that's kind of, I think the graduate program has helped me springboard into something new that I would not normally have thought about doing. And it's all certainly, I think, has helped me get interviews with jobs I've never gotten interviews for.
Wow. So it seemed like you were to be like the word change for this piece, right? There's a lifestyle change and everything.
Yeah, and I think that I'm really ready for that, more so than 3 years ago. I was kind of replaying in my mind today about where I was 3 years ago now. And 3 years ago in July, I was just starting to think about social work and about going and applying for a social work program, and that seemed very scary and ominous and this big mountain I would have to climb. And now I look at, I'm almost finishing with my first year. I've been in healthcare, which is a brand new field for me. Worked in as a kind of a quasi social worker in healthcare, and I'm loving it. I feel like I'm excelling, and I'm actually in my current job in geriatric healthcare, I'm actually kind of having people come to me as the expert, which to me is like, I'm kind of a newbie here. I've only been in this industry for 3 years, but I think it was my willingness to jump in and learn and grow and make mistakes and have really good mentors. So I'm really excited about the potential of having the potential of having a new position where I might have a good mentor who could teach me a lot about case management, which I feel like I'm kind of lacking in my social work.
So what I understand is that kind of you're underestimating yourself, you know, but yeah, you've gone through so much and you've learned so much. Why would you state that you don't have the background quite yet?
I think that because I look at people around me who've been in healthcare for, 20 plus years. I work with a lot of people who've been in healthcare a lot longer, but I don't think that they have quite taken the initiative. And I felt like I have excelled in such a short amount of time, because I think whatever I do, I immerse myself into very quickly and very deeply and with everything that I have. And so, but I'm always constantly looking around and comparing myself to other people and saying, well, I don't have 20 years of experience. My undergraduate's in film and theater. So I sometimes take those measures and look at myself and compare myself versus saying, but look at how far I've come, and not giving myself the full credit that I need to give myself.
Yeah, it sounds like you kind of critique yourself pretty harshly. Would you say from 0 to 10, 10 being that you pretty much critique yourself every single day, and 0 being that you never critique yourself, what number would you fall under?
I think that's probably given the day. Some days I'm not conscious of it because I'm so immersed in what I'm doing, but other days I would, I could critique myself as a 7. But and I always tell people that's probably my greatest weakness, is that I'm harder on myself than anybody else could ever be, and I'm constantly second guessing. Well, did I do that right? Or what was the outcome could have been if I would have done that differently? So I'm my worst critic, probably.
Definitely, yeah, and you should actually give yourself a round of applause, because I mean you've kind of adapted to change. You've been changing, and you've been able to kind of go through that route, and I mean you're very successful right now, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I guess I would say that is probably on the other flip side of the coin. That's probably one of my greatest strengths, is I actually am pretty adaptable. I think that particularly in the life that I've led, being someone in the arts, I've had to work really hard to do the things I love, because most people don't get into the arts to make money. Well, they try to make it into Hollywood, but you end up working a lot harder than most people because you have to support your passion. You're having to work other jobs in order to do what you love. And I feel like healthcare was never anything, or social work was never anything I set out to do. It wasn't my lifelong passion, but it kind of fell in my lap, and I ran with it. I grasped it. I embraced it, and now it's become such a part of me. I can't imagine my life without it. So I think that's what's helped me become more successful, is that it's just something that's been very natural for me to do.
Yeah, definitely. And it seems like you've actually kind of gained a passion for it, though, throughout this journey.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something now that, it's an easy answer to a question when somebody asks me, what do you want to do with social work? And I said, well, I want to work in mental health. I want to work in the medical field. I don't see myself as a community planner. I definitely have very goal-oriented ideas about what I want to pursue in social work, what fits well with me, what things that I really feel passionate about and that I thrive in.
Yeah, definitely. Could you kind of like discuss maybe two changes throughout this journey that you are most proud of?
I think first and foremost, someone who has come from an arts background, to say I want to go into healthcare, and I want to do social work in healthcare. I think that's learning almost like a second language. As far as like just medical language, learning diagnosis, learning medications, and then learning the full scope of the social, psychosocial, aspects of someone's life, and then how all of the medical and the psychosocial kind of meld together. And I think just being in an environment, I kind of was thrust into skilled nursing, my first healthcare job, and I was working with clinicians and they were looking at me as the expert. I was an activities director and they're like, well, what are we going to do with behaviors? And I'm like, I'm thinking in my mind, why are you asking me? Because I don't know. But then just thinking on the spot, you know, thinking, okay, this is what I think we should do, and just going with my gut, and then people looking at me and going, okay, she's the expert in this area, let's go with what she says. So as I started to build that confidence, and I started to say, now I'm learning all these other facets of healthcare that I can throw into the mix and actually feel like I really do know what I'm talking about. And now again, at my, like, coming back to say, at my current job, I'm one of the older employees as far as, like, I've been there the longest. And people look to me like, Christine knows about Medicare. She knows about Medicaid. She knows about resources in the community. We're going to go to her. She knows about our company's policies. She knows about Washington state policies. She knows about federal policies. So it feels good that I've been able to gain all this information without even really recognizing that, and that people recognize that in me. And it helps me build confidence that I'm doing the right thing.
Definitely. So you're very well aware.
I try to be. I mean, I really try to, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it wholeheartedly. I'm not going to do it halfway. And so I really feel like I put 3 years into learning a brand new skill. I think that's the thing I'm most proud about right now, is my accomplishment, is that I have been able to basically relearn something that's not easy. It's not easy to work in the medical field, and people spend years and years and years learning, and I feel like it's come very naturally for me to, and I want to learn more. You know, I'm just on the tip of the iceberg of just like grasping even more of what I can take on.
Okay, definitely. Well, that's awesome. Great information. Before we end our session today, would you kind of talk about maybe one thing that you would like to change before you come back and discuss with me again within your career?
I think one of the things I want to change is that I want to be able to think more broadly about my future plans and not get myself pigeonholed into one course of action. Sometimes I look at something and I think that's the road I'm going to take, and then it ends up weaving me and turning me and meandering me into a totally different route. So I really want to, I found myself saying to another medical social worker the other day, I don't want to do community planning. And he's like, oh yeah, I know what you mean. And then I thought, well, I shouldn't say that, because I never know where my road is going to take me in social work, and it's a broad field. So I think I just want to make sure that I stay open to whatever presents itself to me and whatever might be a great opportunity for me. And that's why I'm trying to stay open to this new potential job situation. I could be learning something completely different.
So it sounds that the way you would implement that would be to actually being open to new opportunities. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I just want to be open to whatever presents itself to me and embrace what's ahead of me.
Perfect. Now, do you mind if I kind of recap what we kind of discussed here today before we leave our session?
That would be great.
Okay, perfect. So we pretty much kind of entered in today, kind of introducing ourselves, and you kind of started discussing about the word overall would be change, and how you're changing careers, and how currently right now you're on kind of like on the second round of this new position potentially. And, you know, there's a lot of things that kind of you fear because you feel like you're not at the capacity of being able to be credentialed, I guess, in the sense, to say that you have that credential behind you, should I say. But yeah, you're underestimating yourself more than you think. And you kind of put yourself at a 7 right now, from 0 to 10, 10 being that you kind of the worst, you're your worst critic. And 0 being that kind of you never ever do that. So you said you're about a 7, which is an honest number, you know, and that's always room for improvement for everybody. So that is great right there in itself for you to acknowledge that. And kind of along the way, you're kind of open to new ideas into the actual realm of social work. So you kind of don't want to close yourself off, and you're open to change, but it's kind of a little scary. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it sounds absolutely spot on. Absolutely. Okay. I think that right now, I just, the future is wide open. I'm, you know, maybe have the opportunity to learn a lot about different things in my placements, Things that I thought that maybe were exciting to me might just be something I completely run the opposite directions. Things that I thought, well, maybe I'll try this on and see if it fits. It might be like a perfect fit for me. So just open to possibilities right now.
Great, and that's the best policy. Just keep open, you know, and you continue to learn. Well, thank you again, Christine, for making time for me to speak to me today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.
Great. Thank you so much, Valerie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.